When I first started out, I think I was questioning, what was my next step, because I'm transitioning from executive director to retirement. And so my question was, am I going to continue to work in some way? Or am I going to just have fun? And I think through the coaching experience, we explored what was important to me, what my options were, what my priorities were. And I decided that a combination of those things was best for me, that I wouldn't be totally happy just working, and I wouldn't be totally happy just going out there having fun. And so I feel at this point I've struck, a really good balance. And I have kind of a blueprint for how I want to carry on for the next few years. If I could offer one piece of advice for anyone considering leadership coaching, is I think to go into it with, having done maybe some self-examination before you start the process. And, hopefully you're matched with someone who can bring out the important things that you need to examine as far as how you lead, the kind of person you are, your strong suit, your weak points, and, be able to address those and be open. I think, the biggest problem with something like this is if you're not willing or able to recognize your shortcomings and, and think about how you want to improve, where you want to go with what you're doing right now. And how you relate to people. So, in my experience, we went through some really good exercises that helped me identify a lot of my strengths and a lot of the areas I needed to work on. I was even more convinced of this after we did our coaching sessions, but this was something that I felt was important even before I went into it. And that was just that they have a real focus in their lives, that they know who they are and what they want to accomplish. And, hopefully at the end of the coaching, that is more crystallized for them. And because I found that, in order to accomplish anything really serious in your life, you have to be focused. You have to know what your path is. And everything that you do needs to come from that. The decisions you make, the actions you take need to come from that. And I think the experience of coaching can help crystallize that. With racial healing, in our work, we concentrated on 4 areas, and they were healing, making connections, facing history, and taking action. So I think in the coaching process, someone who wants to bring an equity lens into the work that they do can follow those 4 steps in their coaching. They can start with healing. The main thing about that was self-examination and self-reflection. So, it would be important in the coaching sessions for that person to explore with the coach where they are in that process, where they are as far as equity and diversity and, and the whole question of inclusion. Really examine where they are as far as the kind of progress that they've made already and where they think they want to go as a person, as an individual, because that's going to be important to the organization. And then that making connection would be in your own organization. Are you making the kinds of connections both individually and as a team that will broaden your perspective? And will give you a better understanding of others and where they see themselves and how they how they interact in the workplace. Because, I've heard so many organizations talk about, well, they didn't really fit in, they don't really fit our culture. So the question you want to ask is, do we maybe need to change our culture a little bit? Is there something that we can do to meet that person halfway? Are we really giving them the opportunity to become a part of our culture? And then, facing history is looking at not just the history of the country, but the history of your organization. What have you done up to this point, and how can you make the changes you need to make? But also just facing history and looking at how systemically racism has worked in organizations, in corporations, and held people back, not help them make the kind of advancements they could make. And then obviously that last step, taking action, is after you've gone through all of those things, think about how your organization is going to step out and take action and make those differences. And all those are all steps that you can go through with your coach.